Hi everyone. So I hope you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will start at 5:10. Let's wait for the rest of the guys to join in, then we'll start at 5:10 exactly. Emmanuel, tunakusikia ukitype. Umeanza kuhack already? You started hacking?
Sorry for that.
Hapa kuna mtu anaongea.
We're starting at 5:10 exactly. Yeah, we've given a 10-minute allowance for guys to join in. But tukiwa tuna 31 attendees, your competition is so narrow. Kila mtu atakuwa na award. So yeah, let's just wait for 1 more minute, then we start. Yeah, so it's 5:10 exactly, and we should start. So as Gregory shares his screen, let's type in the chat how we feel about this event. If we're excited, if you're anxious, what we expect. You can just be typing up a chat. Yeah, as we wait for Greg to share his slides. So Emmanuel anasema he feels alive. How are you feeling before, Connie? Let us know. Yeah, a lot of you are excited. I'm also very excited to see what you guys are gonna build. I'm hoping kutakuwa na a few startups from this event. You build your solutions into real actual products in the market. So Luis is saying he's ready to hack. Yeah. Are you excited to meet your fellow teammates? Okay, he's saying he hasn't, which is normal. It's normal. But tutakuwa sawa. Your teammates will enable you, and we're here to offer support as well.
Hi,
Brian
Daisy.
anasema he feels tired for Friday. Tungekuwa uende sherehe. Yeah, keep the comments coming in. Pauline is excited.
Hi Daisy, do confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can. Before you start, tell us how you feel, Greg.
I'm also excited to see this like come to fruition, and I can't wait to see what people come up with.
Yeah. And I hope you'll tell us about your own solution for climate that you're working on right now, somewhere during the presentation.
I definitely
Greg,
will. I'll shamelessly
Yeah.
plug myself.
Okay, let me read a few comments. Purity is curious about what's ahead, which is definitely excited. So what's ahead is, of course, you guys will get trained on APIs, endpoints, as well as Azure, deploying your front-end and back-end solutions on, I think, one of the best cloud services, which is Azure. Then, of course, what data science is, how to use data science in your projects, and not just for this hackathon, but also in the future. You'll be taken through training on that as well. And of course, GitHub for collaboration, because you need to track what you're doing, so that in case of anything happens, you're able to go back to like your code. So I love that you're engaging with me here. Emmanuel anapost sana. Na leo nipeane credit ama coffee. Which one do you guys want? Oh, Fabian is from a 3-week coding streak. I'm feeling exhausted. Well, I can say for here, you'll be working in a team. So they will be able to help you when you feel exhausted. They'll also be able to give you like new perspective to the challenge that you guys are solving. So yeah, like I hope you get the energy from your teammates. Emmanuel expound on when he was saying he feels alive in a movie in a call launch and we're waiting for. Yeah, I get what you mean. Oh, Fabian is tired but excited. Oh, you guys want credit? Azure credits mko nazo. I'm talking about credits. Yata mkwe na bundles za kuhack. Sinaona how I got you guys. Just from UNICEF and who designed the hackathon. I'm pumped up with this. I'm also really excited. M-Pesa, credo ya kuhack. Okay. Amtaki kahawa at all. Ndio mkunywa hata kahawa when you're coding. Into the late hours, into the early morning hours. Kahawa. Aya. Greg, take it away.
All right. Confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So yeah, welcome to the launch event for Hack4Climate. So excited to have you here. And as I said, I really can't wait to see what you all come up with. And so we're going to launch the launch event as we speak. So let's begin. Yeah, so the program for today is really simple. We're going to talk about Hack4Climate, what it is, what the program entails, what you learn from it, the problem statement. Yeah, and then we're also going to talk about our focus areas, We're going to have Sifa and Daisy, Cyrus, and I talking about these focus areas, which you'll get to see in a moment. And then at the end, we're going to have Q&A session. So if you have any question, just keep them at the back of your mind or write them down or even put them in the chat. Daisy will be actively looking at them and will answer them at the very end of the session. So Hack4Climate is going to be a virtual hackathon. We are going to use tech to solve issues around climate change. We're going to do this in the span of 5 days, and we are going to see this in the coming slides. We're going to do this in the span of 5 days, where we're going to use technologies such as Azure, GitHub, and Postman, together with data science techniques, to build a fully functional solution that is going to solve a problem around around climate change. Sorry for that. And yeah, so those are the people behind Hack4Climate. Gregory, that's I, Daisy, and Farah. Sorry. Hope you can still see my screen. So these are our partners. We have UoN Coding Club. Daisy and I are members and pioneers of the UoN Coding Club, together with Postman and DataQuest. KCA University, that's where Farah is from, and ALX, and the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors. So do make sure you follow us on our social media pages. And also when you're posting about this event, do make sure that you tag them. So Hack4Climate, let's get into the meat of it. While climate change is a global issue, we know that it's mostly impacting like African countries and Kenya in particular, because uh, countries like Kenya are still agrarian economies, and so we really depend on agricultural and tourism sectors for our income. And climate change really comes with uncertainty and unpredictability and unreliability. So this is going to lead to losses in these sectors that we depend on for our income. So we find that farmers do not know when to plant or how to plant because of this climate change. And it's a really big issue for our country. And so to combat these issues, we need innovative solutions that leverage technology. And so the challenge for you guys, we're going to form teams and you should develop cutting edge data science solutions using the Azure platform, GitHub, and Postman to address climate change related issues. The solutions should be impactful, sustainable, environmentally conservative, and climate resilient. So we are really we're leaving this problem as open as possible. We just want you to solve any problem whatsoever regarding climate change. And there are so many problems you could work on. However, just to give you a few ideas, these are going to be our focus areas: sustainable energy, environmental tracking, education and awareness, climate resilient agriculture, and transportation and mobility. However, you're not limited to these focus areas. Of course, if you find a problem and come up with a solution that is not within these bounds, it's definitely okay. We just thought that most of the solutions would fall around this area. As I said, we're going to leverage Postman, GitHub, and Azure. So you may not be familiar with any of these technologies or all of them, but we are going to cover them as the hackathon goes by. We've arranged sessions so that you can learn more about Postman, about GitHub, about Azure, how you can use them, how you can get started with them. So the aim of this hackathon is not just building a solution, but you're going to be learning while you're building it. And we hope that you come up with real life solutions that you actually care about, and solutions that may actually end up being startups at the end of this. Yeah, so just a brief for those who may not be familiar with these technologies. Postman is a software application that we use for API testing and documentation. You may not be familiar with APIs or application programming interfaces at the moment, but as time goes by, we hope that the sessions we've arranged for you will be really informative and you'll get a lot from it. GitHub is also a cloud-based platform, but it's used for storing and managing and collaborating on code. So these are developers store their code and collaborate with other developers. Azure is a platform that provides cloud computing and storage services. So in short, it's just like they provide servers or computers that you can perform, I don't want to say to repeat myself, but computers that you can like compute on. Yeah. So this is the timeline for Hack4Climate. We are launching today, October 27th on a Friday, and then October 30th will be Monday, and we are going to have a technical session. And the technical session is going to be focusing on GitHub. So today we've already given you the problem statement. We're going to group you during the weekend into groups of 5, where you're going now to obviously collaborate to come up with a solution. And the tool that you're going to use for collaborating is GitHub. And so for the people who might not be familiar with GitHub, we're going to offer a session on GitHub on Monday. On Tuesday, we are going to talk about data science as a pivotal role in addressing climate change. And we're going to see how um, we can integrate data science with other disciplines such as web development, IoT, for effective interdisciplinary solutions. So it's not just a data science hackathon, because I am aware we might be having web developers in the group, we might be having IoT developers in the group. So we're looking for ways in which we can have a holistic solution where we have somebody who has implemented data science and come up with AI models, and somebody who's using web development for the graphical user interface, for example, someone using IoT, let's say to obtain data using sensors and things like that. So on Wednesday, that will be November 1st, we're going to have a session on Azure for climate. And again, Azure is another requirement for this hackathon, and we'll provide training for that for the people who might not be acquainted with Azure. On Thursday, we're going to have a session for Postman. We're going to learn how to work with APIs for environmental data collection and manipulation. And Friday next week is when you people will be required to submit your solutions. So all groups will be required to submit their solutions by 4 p.m. on November the 3rd, which is Friday. And then we'll also have a wind down session at a time like this, 5 p.m., ending the hacking stage. So at this point, your solutions will obviously be judged and scrutinized. And on November 10th, the top 9 groups will make it to, or will receive an invitation to attend the physical awarding ceremony that will take place at Microsoft ADC. So that's the top 9 groups. And out of the top 9, the top 2 will be battling out for a position 1, and we have really great rewards for you people. So feel free to connect with us. Again, we are like the organizers. So let's move into the focus areas. As I said, so we're going to explain more about these focus areas just to give you people like a point of view of where this hackathon is coming from and what we expect from you people, the kind of problems that are revolving around climate change and the kind of solutions that already exist and how we can make them better and how we can innovate them. So out of those focus sessions, our first session will be Climate Resilient Agriculture by Sifa Kinoti. So Sifa, if you're just there, I hope you can hear me. Just take it away.
Yes, I can hear you, Greg. Thank you so much for the invitation. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sifa Kinoti. I have a background in environmental engineering and data science. I'll be one of the mentors and judges for this hackathon, so I'm looking forward to seeing the solutions that you're all going to be coming up with. So in this session, I would just like to give you an overview explanation of what climate resilient and sustainable agriculture is and how you can apply your data science knowledge in hacking this solution. So when you're thinking about sustainable agriculture, I'd like you to think about how we can produce enough food and fiber to satisfy everybody's needs, the whole world, all 7 billion of us, without compromising the ability of future generations to produce food. So we are aware that the population is continuously increasing and our resources are not going to be increasing. So how do we do that in a way that does not destroy the opportunity for future generations to create food? So certain aspects of agriculture that you can look into are soil health, water management, biodiversity conservation, crop diversity, energy efficiency, local food systems, how you produce food right from the farms until it reaches the consumer, food storage, food processing systems, responsible resource management. You realize that a lot of our themes are intertwined, such as energy and water, because we need all of these resources together to use them together responsibly in order to create sustainable solutions. I'd also urge you all to look into the issue of organic farming, where we do not use synthetic fertilizers, because we realize that is one of the biggest causes to climate change. And I would also urge you all to look into different aspects of agriculture, not just the regular maize farming that we know of. Look into livestock keeping, look into fish farming, and look into other sectors like agroforestry. I will be available throughout the whole duration of the hackathon for consultation if anybody needs any um, guidance or assistance in regards to sustainable agriculture and data science. And I'm looking forward to interacting with you all. Have a lovely evening and enjoy.
Awesome, awesome. So that's it for climate resilient agriculture. I hope you've gotten insights and I hope ideas are already bubbling in your mind on how you can hack for climate resilient agriculture. So next up, we have Daisy with environmental tracking. Daisy, if you can hear me, take it away.
Yeah. So I prepared some slides for you guys. So environmental tracking is basically just monitoring and collecting data on various aspects of natural environment to understand and analyze changes, patterns, and trends. It involves continuous observation of parameters in the environment. So basically, this is just monitoring the environment to be able to track now climate change and where we're heading to in terms of climate. The next slide. So this is the process of environmental tracking. I did introduce myself, but I do geospatial engineering, and geospatial has a lot to do with mapping data and collecting data. So environmental tracking is one of the areas of focus in what I do, and that's why I'm talking about environmental tracking for climate change. So this is the processes involved. So even as you're building your solution, you can concentrate on a particular process and how to be more efficient in that. For example, better data collection, better spatial analysis, better data integration into solutions, real-time monitoring, like collecting data as it happens. There's modeling and prediction, that is your AI and your ML. The assessing the impact of the data that you're getting, and then as well decision support, making informed decisions with the data that you're collecting, as well as monitoring climate change and biodiversity and conservation. So I did a breakdown of how you can use different areas of technology to do environmental tracking for climate change. So you can do satellite-based solutions. This is still under the spatial technology, but I put it separate to maybe like diversify the possible solutions that you can come up with. So satellite-based solutions is basically just monitoring, but on a global scale. You know how satellites are usually in space, they can see the entire Earth. So your solution can be on that in making satellites and sensors more efficient in monitoring the environmental changes that are happening. There's also IoT. IoT is just sensor technology to collect real-time data and also enabling localized data. For example, you can come up with a system where there are sensors almost everywhere. Like there are areas currently that haven't been mapped or explored. So you can come up with a system that uses sensors in these areas to collect data from every single part of the world. There's also big data and analytics, which is a major area of focus in this hackathon, where you use large data sets and you extract meaningful insights and identify trends and correlations related to climate change to make now data-driven decisions. There's also geospatial technologies, which is my area of focus. And this is just using GIS technology, geoinformation systems, in mapping and visualizing environmental data now for, let's say, agriculture, for sustainable energy, even for the national government, for the county government. For urban planning, disaster management, and conservation. You also consider the spatial relationships of environmental data. This is just focusing on the geographical locations of where you're getting your data from. There's also mobile apps and crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is basically just data collection by citizens, by normal people. You're able to just collect data with your phones. So you can come up with a mobile app that enables crowdsourcing, where someone can just take a picture, and then when they upload it into your app now does all the algorithms and figures out what's happening currently in the environment, and able to put that data somewhere where it will be useful, like collectively. Then there's, of course, artificial energy and machine learning. This is to predict climate patterns and enhance climate modeling accuracy. You see, we're even giving things to solve, things you can build on. Then, of course, there are challenges and future directions. So this can help you in the case that you don't want to come up with like a new solution, you build on what already exists. You can identify the challenges that are there and solve that problem. For example, one of the challenges that we face is data accuracy and accessibility. So you can build on that. Then international collaboration for comprehensive and global environmental tracking systems. And of course, innovation for sustainable solutions, which is what we're doing in this hackathon. So my conclusion is environmental tracking is multifaceted. And you can use technology in various ways and methods to observe, record, and analyze the natural world. It is essential for addressing challenges in climate change and environmental degradation and the conservation of ecosystems by providing data-driven insights and evidence for decision makers and researchers. That has been my time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Daisy, for not only telling us what environmental tracking is, but even giving us some of the ideas we can use to hack for climate with regards to environmental tracking. So I'll take it
There's a
through.
hand.
Sorry?
There's someone who's raised their hand.
Is it a question?
Okay, just
We can take that maybe at the end of the session. So yeah, let's move on to education and awareness. So by education and awareness, we are just meaning that these are the efforts aimed at informing people about climate change. What is climate change? Why should we care? Why does it matter? Uh, how should we get involved? So this is just education and awareness, making people know about this, because for the most part, people don't act on climate change because they don't know um, what it is and why it's a pressing issue. And that's why education and awareness is a really important aspect in this hackathon. So, what are some of the importances of education and awareness? Well, first of all, it empowers individuals and communities. By educating people, they feel empowered with the ideas that they themselves can get involved in this problem and they can come up with community-based solutions. It also fosters climate literacy. As I said, most people don't act on climate change because they don't know about it. And we are climate change is attributed to mostly human activities. For example, when you're driving cars or riding carbon fuel cars, the factories all emitting CO2 and other greenhouse gases. Um, it's all because people are not climate literate. That is, like they're not aware about climate change and the adverse effects that it's bringing to our world as we know it. And it also brings about informed decision making. You can't make an informed decision when you're not informed. So some of the ways we raise awareness is through workshops and webinars, through social media campaigns, through community engagement events. For example, this is a hackathon that is also a community engagement event, um, engaging mostly the tech community, especially students, because I know most of you are students. But what are some of the challenges involved? Workshops and webinars may easily turn complex or boring. So I don't know if you've ever seen like these workshops where there's this scientist who's explaining climate change and they're like, if you look at this graph, this variable shows that climate change is going to increase by this amount by these years, making it so it's just extremely boring. You can't follow it through, and you log off in the middle. The social media campaigns is a leading cause of misinformation. So I don't know about you, but whenever you log on to Twitter, you can't live without seeing uh, more than 5 false posts or more than 5 posts with community notes. So community notes are notes that usually show that the post is misinformed or misguiding. And so social media is a leading form of misinformation. And because of this, most people don't take the information on social media to be credible or true, which is great because some messages are supposed to be taken with skepticism, but climate change, not really. Time is not on our side, and we really cannot, uh, delay the action on climate change. Community engagement events may lack engagement. So how can we get people to be involved, and how can we involve everyone, not just climate enthusiasts? Because for the most part, when you host like community events for climate change, you just find it's a climate enthusiast who are going to attend. But what about that person who doesn't know about climate change? Because that's the person you're trying to reach. So how can we overcome these hurdles? Yeah, how can we use technology to make learning fun and engaging and not boring? Can gamification help? Can we gamify learning with respect to climate change? How can we reduce misinformation on the internet? So I've just talked about Twitter notes and how they attach notes to posts that may be misguiding or misleading. And as data scientists, can you people use NLP, natural language processing, and web scraping? Sorry about that. And web scraping can we incentivize communities to get involved, and how do we do this? So these are just some of the things you can think about. When you try to come up with answers to these questions, you'll find yourself coming up with ideas for the hackathon. All right. Up next, we have Sustainable Energy by Cyrus. Cyrus, if you're available, just unmute and take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Greg. Just give me a minute to share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So my name is Cyrus Ndirangu. I am a Microsoft Launchpad ambassador. Oh. Okay, something changed. But yeah, my name is Cyrus Ndirangu. I founded my own small consulting practice. I'm also an instructor part-time at LinkedIn Learning, and I'm currently working on a course for testing with React. And I invite you all to follow me on LinkedIn as we continue with this journey in programming. So my talk today is going to involve sustainable energy. First of all, congratulations to you all for joining the Hack4Climate Hackathon. This is many things, but it's a good initiative for one, trying to solve problems that affect us locally, and through trying to come together to work on problems that that need solutions. Like, we need solutions to these problems, and nobody's gonna come and make these solutions for us. We are the only ones who are going to make these solutions. My slide is a bit chunky, so I have a small agenda. So we're going to talk about what is sustainable energy. We're going to talk about the global energy challenge, some areas of application, some challenges in these areas, a conclusion, and we can proceed to Q&A. So what is sustainable energy? Sustainable energy refers to energy sources and practices that are environmentally friendly and do not deplete natural resources such as solar power, geothermal energy, wind, etc. This means that we have energy that, as long as we use it, we do not damage or we do not deplete natural resources. For example, the wave energy, I think Netherlands or Amsterdam is the one that uses it. So why should we care about sustainable energy? Sustainable energy is crucial for safeguarding our planet's future because it helps reduce pollution, combat climate change, and ensure a long-term clean energy supply. I don't think I need to tell you guys climate change is here. We can see how our meteorological department is unable to predict the climate. So we can be able to see how, for example, I can be able to attest, like when we used to grow up, we used to have long rains around April, and then we used to have short rains in October. For the past 2-3 years, the short rains have been slowly reducing, and that is a huge red flag. I think we should be opening our eyes now to the change that is here. So what is the global energy challenge? The global energy challenge revolves around the world's growing energy needs. So primarily, our needs are met by fossil fuels. So what does that mean? Like, fossil fuels, I think unajua, nyi wote ni wasomi. All you guys here are learned guys. Fossil fuels are things like petroleum products that power our diesel trucks, our petrol engines, our kerosene lamps, all that. Jets are powered by fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are finite and contribute significantly to climate change through greenhouse gas emissions. I believe most of you guys, if not all, did chemistry, and I think you can understand what greenhouse gas emissions mean. It means that the carbon gases that erode our ozone layer, and they cause acid rain, when they stay too much in the environment. So to address this challenge, we must transition to sustainable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydropower to ensure clean, abundant, and environmentally responsible energy supply for a growing global population. So some sources we know of sustainable energy, we are encouraged to start using them in our project. So as a student, like you'd want to think like, okay, what does that mean for me? Like, what does that mean for me? So I highlighted a few areas of application. So one is, as a hackathon participant, what is obligated from you? So one, we have renewable energy projects. So if you're a participant, you can collaborate on innovative projects that harness Kenya's renewable energy potential. This may include designing solar-powered solutions for rural areas, wind energy projects, or small-scale hydropower systems. I believe we are from all walks of STEM. I believe we have engineers among us. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys implemented a simple Tesla turbine. I think it's called a Tesla turbine, yeah. And you can pitch that, and you can be able to create an app to monitor the energy levels. These kind of projects can provide clean energy, clean and affordable energy to underserved communities. We can see our government is now auctioning all private entities, and I think you can be able, I think they've declared it's free market for us. So I think this is an opportunity that you can really think of how you can innovate around it. We have energy efficiency solutions. We know one thing is Kenya Power is, comrades know, tokens are just crazy. Developing energy efficient technologies and practices is crucial. Students can create apps or devices or systems that help households and businesses reduce energy consumption, which is a significant aspect of sustainable energy. You can create a small Raspberry Pi monitor that checks power being used in the house. You can put thresholds. If power goes to a certain threshold, you just drop down the meter box, and you can be able to understand what is going on in your house and optimize small things before you move to scale. Grid modernization, improving efficiency and reliability of the energy grid is a key component of the transition of sustainable energy. Students can work on smart grid solutions, demand response systems, and microgrid projects to enhance energy distribution and management. All these projects you find are mostly online. You can find, well, KPLC hasn't documented its papers, but we know there's nothing innovated there. You can check what people are doing, like the German Energy Council, check what people are doing in Indonesia, check what people are doing in China, how they're able to monitor where there is high demand for power, and yet they still supply of power consistently to all people. So I think we can be able to check what those people are doing and try see how we can replicate those solutions for us back home. Rural electrification. So a substantial population or portion of Kenya's population still lacks access to electricity. Well, if you look at the people who lack electricity are the people who are where we have sustainable energy, like in abundance. For example, the northern Kenya, North Hor, you find there people don't have power and they have access to, you know, what is it, solar panels. They have access, no, not solar panels, they have access to free solar almost all year round. They have access to wind almost all year round. And I think we can try to devise off-grid solutions such as portable solar kits or community-based renewable energy systems to bring power to remote areas. Now, these are just things I brainstormed. Being a first-time hackathon attendee, you don't need to recreate what Edison did, but you just have an idea of what is really needed or what is going on in the current landscape. So policy and advocacy. Engaging with policymakers and advocating for supportive renewable energy policies is vital. Remember, you guys are the think tanks of Kenya. Kenya will not progress if you guys just sit on your potential. You know, we need to work, we need to live, we need to work for the Kenya we want, you know, and participants can research and present policy recommendations that promote sustainable energy development and investments. So this is something that you can be able to pitch to our politicians, you know, in office, and you can be able to show them the right way. You know, I think we're headed in a wrong direction. You can be able to point them, you know, in the right direction by, you know, engaging them in thinking conversations. So data analytics and monitoring. Daisy mentioned this in depth. So we have data-driven solutions that can help in optimizing energy use. Students can develop tools for monitoring energy consumption, identifying inefficiencies, and recommending improvements. I think this has been done before, but it's not doesn't mean that you cannot reinvent the wheel and you cannot see what you can improve better. Understanding how we can be able to reduce dirty energy and increase clean energy. So for example,
Hello, Cyrus. Are you still there?
hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. My network must have dropped. Yeah, Daisy was talking about how we can develop data-driven solutions because we can see now we're in the age of acting information. So we are at the age where AI needs the data that we have been collecting for probably the past decade through the millennium of 2000. AI is now training with the data that we have. So we have an abundance of data, but we do not have an abundance of clean data. We can be able now to work with the data that we have and see how we can create solutions, that can work for us. We can even start small like Nairobi County. You can even focus on a small group like your estate, or, so many, the opportunities are endless. So while we are thinking about the areas of application, there are some challenges in sustainable energy that are worth highlighting because through challenges, we are able to break through and find solutions. So sustainable energy is undoubtedly the future, but its widespread adoption faces several challenges that we must address to achieve a clean and sustainable energy landscape. Here, we will delve into some current challenges associated with the adoption of sustainable energy solutions. I'll name a few, but feel free to brainstorm. So we have one is intermittency. So intermittency is a significant challenge for renewable energy sources like solar and wind. So what does this mean? Like, these sources are not available 24/7 and their energy generation is heavily dependent on weather conditions and or daylight hours. This intermittency can create issues with grid stability and reliability as energy demand doesn't always align with its availability. So hackathon participants can work on solutions to predict and manage this intermittency through advanced forecasting, energy storage, and grid integration technology. So we can create smart grid systems where we are able to work with renewable energy and the dirty energy. So we can be able to slowly work our way into the system and promote clean energy. I think in EU or I think in the EU or it's in the US, the grids have been integrated the grids have been integrated with clean energy. And the cool thing is, Apple, I think it's Apple, yeah, Apple have created, I think it's a chip or a software in their device where they're able to tell that, hey, this is not clean energy. And they even tell you, hey, we can wait for when there's clean energy for your phone to be charged. So you can plug your phone in, but if it's not clean energy, it won't charge your phone. So I think these are some of the areas where we can try and see how we can innovate from. We have energy storage. So energy storage is a critical challenge because sustainable energy sources often generate excess energy during periods of high availability, which needs to be stored for use during low availability. So existing energy storage solutions such as batteries are still expensive and not yet widely accessible in many regions. I think if you go a bit to like the North Kenya, like Samburu or places, you find people, it's like a battery that serves like a village. So it's not that cheap, number one, and also it's not that accessible in terms of even when like battery acid, for example, you have to go kilometers, assuming you're remote, to find a place where you can replenish. So hackathon projects can focus on designing affordable, efficient energy storage systems, exploring innovative materials and technologies to improve battery performance, and creating decentralized energy storage solutions for communities. So this is something that even guys like Elon Musk will pay big time for because lobbyists and activists in Western countries, they're really trying to see how they can be able to create efficient energy storage systems. So this is something because we find now, I think it's lithium batteries, and you find those lithium batteries, they don't Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. My slide just froze. Okay, I think I must be back. Let's move onwards. Yes, infrastructure. I know I'm pressed for time. Transitioning to sustainable energy requires significant infrastructure development. This includes building new energy generation facilities, upgrading the electrical grid, and integrating renewable sources into existing infrastructure. Infrastructure challenges include permitting and zoning issues, resistance from fossil fuel interests, and the need for skilled labor to construct and maintain sustainable energy facilities. So we can address these challenges by creating tools and platforms to streamline permittance processes. We can develop strategies for financing sustainable infrastructure and promote workforce development. All these things you can see boil down to the same things, which is policy advocacy, data-driven solutions. So you can see they're all roaming around the same place. Lastly, we have cost. So the cost of sustainable energy and the installation is often higher compared to conventional fossil fuels, at least initially. The cost factor can deter widespread adoption, especially in developing economies. So we can find ways, because I don't know, our government just wants us to all subscribe to Kenyan Power. There are heavy taxes, for solar, but in the long run, regardless, it's still cheaper than being on the grid. However, it's crucial to note over time, sustainable energy solutions can be more cost-effective due to lower operating and maintenance costs and reduced environmental externalities. We can focus on finding innovative financing models, reducing the cost of renewable energy technologies through research and development, and advocating for government incentives and subsidies to make sustainable energy more affordable. As I conclude, I can say you can think of something like look for, what are they called? Financiers, look for financiers, create a loan app where you help people install solar in your house, and at the same time you pay for everything while they lipa pole pole. Some of these things I've seen now. There's one for matatus, and so these are some of the things we can definitely see how we can innovate from. So as I conclude, whether it's improving the predictability of intermittent energy sources, developing cost-effective energy storage solutions, streamlining infrastructure development, or finding ways to make sustainable energy more affordable, the potential for innovation is vast. By working together, all of us can accelerate the transition to a more sustainable and clean energy future for everyone. Thank you so much, guys. I think I'll hand it over back to Greg.
Thank you very much, Cyrus. That was a very awesome presentation. We really appreciate your insights and the ideas you've been giving the participants so far. I hope you can see my screen. Do confirm.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Awesome. So let's continue. The last focus area is transport and mobility. This is something I really like, especially within the climate sector. Something that I hold close to my heart. I don't know about you guys, but transport within Nairobi is just hectic. We really need solutions and more transport options. And you know what transport and mobility is. No need to define that. But transport is one of the major greenhouse gas emissions, and we pollute the air with all this carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases using cars, pikipikis, buddhas, all fuel powered. We've talked about fossil fuels, and these greenhouse gases, for example, are emitted to the environment by these cars, and they are trapped by the ozone layer, leading to global warming. same as CO2. And in addition to that, the air pollution is caused as well by the cars, and these transports also release pollutants like nitrogen dioxide and particulate matter.
I think can we, Greg, we lost
Hi,
you.
hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry about that. So I was saying, where did you lose me?
When you began the slide.
Oh, sorry. So I was talking about transportation and mobility and how they emit these greenhouse gases, and they also cause air pollution. Uh, it pollutes the air with carbon dioxide, and the air pollution is also harmful to our health, not just the climate change. So how can we move towards sustainability? Yeah, and there's a pun intended there. So how can we innovate public transportation? We've seen companies such as Basigo coming up with electric buses. How can we move towards cycling and walking more? How can we incentivize cycling and walking, to say? How can electric vehicles solve this problem, and how can we incentivize the implementation or the use of electric vehicles as well? Can carpooling and ride sharing help? We know that when many people are using their own personal cars, they're all using fuel, and the fuel is burnt to produce all these greenhouse gases and carbon dioxide, which uh, erodes our ozone layer. So how can we encourage carpooling and ride sharing? Um, how can we do this using technology? Can we come up with carpooling apps or ride sharing apps? Oh yeah. And I was to say this because one of the solutions I'm personally working on is Songa, and Songa is like a digital bike renting platform where people can use bikes, rent bikes, and use bikes, electric bikes, to move from one point to another. Implementing such is very hard in a place like Nairobi where there's congestion. We talk about the CBD theft. So how can we innovate these things to make it better? Obviously, such a solution could work best in campuses, but yeah, the slides are not about Songa for now. So the advantages of green mobility. Obviously, we reduce the emissions and pollution. There's improved air quality. When you're not riding on these cars that are causing the pollution of the pollution of air by emitting carbon dioxide, improving air quality, you're reducing emissions, which lead to global warming. There are also health benefits. We are not inhaling these dangerous gases, and reduced traffic congestion. I mean, like, what if people could ride bikes through CBD instead of all of you going to one place to board a matatu, and all it's just cramped up. So these are just some of the things you can think of. How can we use technology to incentivize the use of greener options? So there are already greener options, and I know as well as students, uh, you might not have the capital to come up with a whole company with bike renting or start selling electric cars like Elon Musk. But how can you incentivize the use of greener options? Like yesterday, I was taking an Uber, but before I took the Uber, I saw that they now have an electric option, like for not electric cars, but electric boarders. We've seen like electric boarders start to come in Nairobi. We've also seen electric buses, and they're the movement is picking up, but it's not picking up at the pace that we'd like. And it's picking up, but let me say inconveniently. Like, it's not convenient to use the electric Buddhas. Because, for example, when I try to order the electric Buddha, since there are so few within Nairobi, like they are so far and the wait time is so long. The Basigo, you have to like book beforehand or be lucky to find it at the stage because it has a fixed schedule and there are few as well. So how can we encourage, incentivize, or make these greener options more convenient? And how can we, as students, also come up with these greener options instead of just incentivizing the use of greener options? Can you think of a cheaper alternative, or can you think of ways to, um, make these options available to us in a convenient manner? Yeah, and so that brings us to the end. Any questions that you've been having so far will be taken right now. The floor is open.
There was a hand to them. Jason and Rachel.
Yeah, so maybe you can help me also monitor the chat because I can't see the screen while sharing.
Okay. Rachel, you can go ahead. Just unmute your mic.
Maybe mine is a brainstorming thing. So we know the people who bring traffic in Kenya is the middle class because there's no way I bought my own car for you to tell me I should leave it at home for I don't know climate change or I don't know what is these things. So how can we create incentives that make the middle class, those are the ones who we are targeting, because if they can agree to board matatus, then we can significantly reduce traffic. So I think the way Greg, you said, incentivizing green transport, that's a really nice thing. Make sure you don't incentivize it too much. We lose it the same way we lost swivel, but just a add on.
Also about making the systems that exist more reliable. For example, there are some areas that matatus don't go. So if we can be able to create, like maybe finding out routes, matatu routes from your phone, what you're able to know this matatu is here and it will take me to this point. So it becomes more reliable and you're more inclined to use it.
Yeah. And also remember, you're not just limited to these focus sessions. There's so many other problems you can think about. We have the issues about plastic. We have the issues about even clothing. How can we make clothing from more sustainable options? How can we improve waste collection and waste management? So feel free to think outside the box, brainstorm, even as we group you. Yeah, and think about innovative solutions, impactful solutions that we will use, that the normal Kenyan will use, and not just a problem that faces one or two people.
Rachel, I'm seeing your hand is up. You can just unmute your mic and ask your question. Okay. She's lowered her hand, so I'm guessing that is by mistake. Is there anyone else with a question? Oh, there's Nelson. Yes, go ahead. Nelson, you can ask your question or make your comment. We can't hear you. Nelson, I can see you're unmuted and your hand is raised. So you can just speak into your mic that you can hear your question. Okay, as we wait for him, I can maybe talk about a little bit on the awards for this hackathon and also what we are going to judge your projects against. Just briefly. So there's going to be, of course, position 1, 2, 3, and then the top 9, of course. And then we have 2 special category of awards. So I'm going to talk about the top 9 projects. So we are projecting to have around between 25 and 40 solutions. And out of those, there are obviously some that are going to stand out. So we're going to pick the first 9 and we're going to take them to Microsoft Africa Development Center. So the purpose of this is for you guys now to connect with the guys that you are in teams with. And of course, with the partners, because they're also going to be there, as well as professionals in the industry. So those are the first nine projects. Then from the first 9, we will narrow down to the top 3. In the top 3, you guys will be aware of the position number 3, and they will receive awards for that. Then we will have the top 2 projects who will get to now pitch at ADC and battle it out for spot number 1. So in terms of awards, we have money for you guys. We have some wonderful goodies from our partners, DataQuest, and we also have merchandise, a lot of it from Microsoft, from the MLSA community, from UoN Coding Club. And another thing you guys get to benefit from this entire hackathon is, okay, we have something for everyone by one of our partners. So we'll tell you more about that. And then there's also vouchers for LinkedIn Premium for some selected guys. So that's all. I've talked about what everyone gets from this hackathon, the top 9, the top 3, and the top 2. Then our special awards, we have 2. There is one special award that will go to just one person, and this is valedictorian of this entire hackathon. So this will be the most outstanding person. Whether you will be the group leader in your team, whether you will be the most active, we can see that you're engaging in our virtual sessions. We can see that you're engaging in your team because we're going to monitor that as well. We can see you're engaging with us. Yeah, we have the valedictorian award that will just go to one person. And then of course we have the person who engages the most on social media, that will also have an award for that. So yeah, that is the awards. Then on the judging criteria for what we're gonna judge your projects against, of course, the technology aspect of it, how you use your Azure, because you expect all of you to use Azure, how you use Azure, how you use Postman, how you use GitHub. And then of course, the security of your project, also the creativity, we need to see the creativity in it, and also the efficiency, also the business aspect. In the case that your project makes it to the market, how are you as the founder, as the startup founder, how you're gonna make your money, and how that solution will help in like the real world. Yeah, so those are some of the categories we're gonna judge a project against. Also your code, we need your code to be readable, to be simple, to have like the right comments and commits that we can understand your code, so that in the case that you make your project open source, someone else is able to build on what you were building before. So we're gonna look at all of that, and we will send the judging criteria on WhatsApp when we release the teams, the different groups that you're gonna be put into, as well as the slides for today, and yeah, any other information you guys might want, we will share that with you guys. That has been my time. Gregory can continue with the Q&A session.
Yeah, I was gonna add and say you forgot something. You can make the code clean, but it should run. Just make sure it runs.
Yeah, make sure it's
Yeah. So, are there any questions? Again, I can't see any raised hands or chats while sharing the screen. Going once. If you have a question, please just raise your hand or unmute or just drop it in the chat. We don't lock anyone out. Any question whatsoever regarding the hackathon?
naona Lois amesema a very important thing. He's just saying the code runs on my computer, but it's not running on ours. We need to see your code run.
Yeah, unless you are going to ship your computer to the client.
Yeah. And the fact that you're in teams, amwezi kosa I could build something. Na mko na 5 days. Na saizi unaweza between now and Monday you can brainstorm. Tumewapea ideas. There's literally nothing that should stop you from building, from getting to the top 9. Yeah, and happy coding, guys.
Oh yeah, just to add on, Daisy said like there are special awards for everyone. I'd like to add a condition for every active participant. So make sure you engage even in your groups, not necessarily on socials or on WhatsApp, but within your groups, make sure you're active. I wouldn't like to receive complaints that my teammates are not responding or I'm the only one just doing the work or whatsoever. Make sure you're active within your groups. The rewards are going to be released. The ones that are going to everyone is like everyone who has submitted the project, not just everyone who signed up. Yeah.
Also, we have 2 other mentors in the session with us. We have Melissa and Victor. They can just unmute and tell us their area of focus and how they're gonna help you guys during the hackathon. So Melissa, okay, I'm seeing she's left, but she was here a minute ago. She'll be in data science for you guys. So if you guys have any data science questions, you can reach out to Melissa. She'll have a session with you guys during the week. Victor, I can see you here. You can just say hi to guys and what you do and how you feel about being a mentor here and being a judge.
So I'm excited. I'm excited like everyone else for the hackathon, and I'm waiting to see the brilliant ideas that people will be coming up with. I'll be on the judging side, so I'm expecting, good quality code is a must, and then what's important is your code must run, because we have to see through the whole solution and certify that it is your own unique solution, that it's not shipped from somewhere else. So I'm excited, and I'm hoping that our interaction during this time will be fruitful.
Yeah, so that has been Victor. Naona kuna maswali hapo kwa chat, basically about how we're gonna run this hackathon. So A query, if I'm working on a project, supposedly an IoT product, what if we need a component that is not accessible? So currently for IoT, if you are developing something that is hardware, we at this stage might not be able to help you with that resource. But we can look into maybe, and this is a big maybe, partnering with Microsoft Garage for the projects that will now proceed. Like your project, we first need to see that it's good enough for us to reach out to Microsoft Garage to see if they can help you with resources for building your project. Then when is grouping being done, that will be done on the weekend. We'll make sure every group has a data scientist and every group has a software engineer. Then the cybersec guys, the IoT guys, the other guys, or the cloud architecture guys, we will just put you in different groups, but we'll ensure every group has a software engineer, backend, front end, and a data scientist. Can use Docker technologies for deployment like GitHub Actions, we're limited to GitHub Actions alone. So yeah, you can use Docker technologies. We're not limiting you guys to technologies that you want to use. We're just saying basic, the bare minimum. Use GitHub, use Azure, use Postman, and we need to see that your solution is data driven, that you've used data. So how are you gonna monitor our discussions? Through your team leads. We will your groups will have team leads, of course, to do like coordination, project management. Yeah, and we will be reaching out to them once in a while throughout the week, just gauging where you guys are in your team, whether everyone is responding, if you guys have any issues, if you guys need anything. Then are we to use Teams for everything? No, Teams will just be for the training sessions. For your own groups, you can just create a WhatsApp group, give it a name, then be talking there. You don't need to meet. If you want to meet, you can. When is the grouping being done? I said over the weekend. They will be released Sunday in the evening. All the groups. Very important question. Yeah. So I think tumejibu maswali zote. Yeah, the exchange rate. we'll see. Yeah, but the prizes iko hapo za cash. Top 3. Leo Greg tunanunulia nani wamekataa kahawa. Wanataka M-Pesa.
Hey. All right. We'll see.
You will see. There's actually a lady, the one who won kahawa. If she was here, I don't know if she's here. She can tell us if she bought kahawa. What about other accounts? I'm not able to set up a free account without a card. Okay, since you're working in teams, you can build on someone else's Azure account.
Yeah. Right. So seeing we are out of time, it's been a pleasure having all of you. If you have any more questions, do contact us through our socials or in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I noticed I didn't introduce myself. I'm Gregory Opwendi, Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador and a student of Economics and Statistics. In my free time, I write Python code. Right, it's been lovely hosting you people. Can't wait to meet you in the next session. Have a nice time.